The city of Bridgetown was once seen as the prime location for commerce. However, in recent times, with the COVID-19 pandemic and the rising cost of living, more and more businesses have been leaving the city, and the ones that remain want the government and the private sector to help redevelop the city in an effort to boost the economy. Most businesses in the city, whether major retailers or street vendors, have been impacted by dwindling traffic in the capital, as more people are opting to spend money outside of Bridgetown for convenience or otherwise. It's a trend that has forced businesses to change the way in which they operate or move to other commercial hubs outside the city. And now it's difficult to turn any corner in Bridgetown without seeing a building or space for rent. City businesses have long called for Bridgetown to be revamped, making it more lively to attract more investment, but also to encourage locals and tourists to visit and spend in the capital.
People have subsidies, the small business people some subsidies, where they can call off and pay all this rent and thing. Anything so. And then you will go implement programs where you get young people to be mentored in small business. If you got a man like me doing this here, get 2 children from the school, send 2 children from the school to learn it. You know, that be part of them school program. Implement it into the schools. You know, sort of things they gotta do on. The big businesses know they can help, they can back for themselves, but the small people, you know, give a little longer time to work. They work for like about 6. You gotta do put in like security now. That will come in you put in like security, people work about 7 o'clock. Start at 6 for the morning, work about 7. Now you infrastructure like and security. Security people will get work. But you think people will get work, you know, if you put in taxes, man, all these things be involved in taxes.
My opinion is they should lift up the buildings they have in Bridgetown, and they should go more to high-end quality goods. And the government should reduce the duties. The duties on all the Caribbean island is 20%. We're paying 60%. You understand? So this is slow down our business. They should lift up the city. They should find a place for the fellas to go if they want to go to the bathroom. Find a space for them. You know, lift up the city. The buildings should be clean. Rent is not affecting. As long as you're doing business, you don't mind paying the rent. If the city booming and the people coming and buying and so on, nobody should go to Sheraton. When you go to Sheraton, they have 4 or 5 stores. You can pick and choose. You know, when you come to the city, that's the footage of the island. You know, that's the footage. The people that come to where the food is, they come and buy. So now you go to Sheraton, they have 4 or 5 stores. Now, they don't have the items you needed. They might find a store, they have items, but they don't have the sizes. When you come to the city, they have many stores. You could choose any from one.
They have more than 20 years of the operating business in Swan Street. Can't be real. I know sister DVDs before was selling crops. So what happened is like when they were selling DVDs, that when business was really like kicking. Quick saw the internet, smart TV, everything come about. They call the DVD. You understand? Money went down slow. The government changed, nothing ain't changed. Because like any day, like there's money that people is wanting in the street. You understand? The government is always got the money. The government just get for social media, so this, so that, don't help nobody. Partially 1,000 times. Thought of this body, thought of that body, never thought of a small businessman, as she said. But them is the people that got the money. The man selling the crops ain't got no money. You gotta sit down and look to get money to survive out here. You understand? So like, since the government changed in Barbados, 2 things is very dry. I would like to see Barbados come back like when it was 1998 and in them times when money was really flourishing in Barbados and people was really like could do this, as she said, like this time, you understand?
Eddy Abed, chairman of the Bridgetown Revitalisation and Smart Cities Committee for the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry, says that within the past 15 years, about 50% of businesses moved out of the city.
You know, there's an old adage that retail goes where there's traffic, the traffic in Bridgetown has been off for several years now. So it shouldn't be a surprise that the retail in Bridgetown is also off. Well over 15 years ago, when a lot of the civil service was moved out of Bridgetown, daytime jobs moved. At one point in time, the chamber did an analysis and there were well over 2,000 businesses and services provided in Bridgetown. The last survey we did, it was about 1,000. So over a 15-year period, we've lost 1,000 businesses and services, predominantly because a lot of the civil servants who worked in Bridgetown, who are now in Warrens and other places, have left. So that daytime trade has been impacted. We've not been able to pick up the slack with any other potential group, whether it be day cruise passengers or other Barbadians who come to Bridgetown to shop. And of course, it presents a huge problem because if you are a retailer, you're not going to invest in an area where there is limited opportunity for growth. You tend to go for areas that have a greater potential. Recently, another survey was done, and apart from ground floor Swan Street, which has full occupancy of retail spaces, Broad Street had in excess of 50% vacancies. First floor was in excess of 70% vacancies. Swan Street, first floor, had in excess of 40% vacancies. These are not good numbers. It says that it's not only that the rents that are keeping people away, is that potential investors do not see an opportunity for a return on their investment and they're going elsewhere.
Despite the island's seaport in Bridgetown, Abed says not enough is being offered in the city to attract tourists.
The survey that's completed by cruise passengers in this country says that there's not enough different in Barbados to give the tourists the opportunity not only to enjoy the country, but a purpose to get off the ships. We need more local content. People want to go to a shop and call for a cutter and drink a bim. They want to be able to go in Cheapside Market and see a cobbler stitching a shoe. They want to be able to take a circuit in Bridgetown where they go to the Jewish temple, they go to St. Michael's Cathedral, and then perhaps even to the Roman Catholic Cathedral in Germans Lane. So they get a sense of the history, the beauty of these structures. We have the garrison, a historic area of which we're part of. We're not doing enough with this. So a lot of it too is not that the opportunities aren't there, it's that the private sector have been slow in picking up these opportunities. And I take full blame. As Party Chamber, we're constantly trying to get members out there to take up more of this. And there's been a reluctance. COVID has hurt this country in more ways than just a downturn with commerce. It has sapped people's energy and their ability to see further than their nose.
Government's response to improving the city has come by way of the Bridgetown Transformation Project, spearheaded by the Barbados Tourism Investment Inc. This saw the demolition of the old NIS building and creation of the Golden Square Freedom Park last year, as well as the construction of new vending stalls at the Fairchild Street Market, which is now in its second phase. Government also sought to improve nightlife in the city with the launch of Festive Fridays at Pelican Village in 2019, which was brought to a halt due to the COVID-19 pandemic. However, Abed says other projects are on the cards and they are what he believes are needed to revitalize the city.
Bringing people back to Bridgetown to live. We have to reintroduce that. Government has some proposals with the Treasury building. I think we're all aware that the Hyatt is on the cards. We know about the Careenage development, that there are 5 buildings there that from this year are going to be a combination of living, office, restaurants, museums, retail. I'm not sure exactly of the configuration of it as yet, but that will drive people back into the city. And more importantly, government have already said that the Golden Mile, which takes us from Hilton to the port all along Carlisle Bay, is an area of great ability to be transformed into a fintech area.
He suggested that there be a city manager who would be responsible for overseeing ease of doing business in the capital.
If somebody wants to get permission to do something in the city now, they have to go through as many 6 or 7 bodies to get permission. We're talking about city management. Every major city has a city manager. We need to move towards that, where all matters regarding the city go through a manager. Whether it is garbage collection, whether it's lighting, whether permission to have a march, whether it is bringing an activity to city, it makes not only the opportunity that a city manager is control of everything that's going on in the city, but it makes permission that much easier.
And on the issue of rent,
startup businesses cannot afford to pay economic rents. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what the economic rent for Broad Street is or Swan Street. I don't know. But I do know that any investor is entitled to a return on his investment. And if he's paying a mortgage, if he's paying land tax, if he's paying insurance, if he's paying maintenance, he's entitled to return. He cannot get that return with startup businesses. They just can't afford it. So this is perhaps where we need to come up with some means of a concession towards these landlords, whether it be in terms of a discounted land tax, whether it be towards a concession and matching the rent from these new startup enterprises. We need to look at that to attract these new players. And I'm not talking about people necessarily selling shoes and garments and so on. I'm talking about startup businesses in areas of coding, in areas of computer science.
the businessman also shared his prospects for the city.
There's a lot of new investment coming in this city. And I will tell you now, in 10 years, this is going to be a very different city. Whether or not it's the city that we want is left to be seen. Because I'm seeing a lot of projects that will be pitching towards the higher end, those with great wealth, which doesn't necessarily represent the masses in this country. And I'm not saying it's going to be done where they're excluded, but I'm saying that it may not include them. So we will not be able to participate at that level. But maybe that's what we need. Maybe we need to bring in a fresh wave that will create that wealth, that groundswell, and then give the opportunity for everybody else to sort of come along in the tail end of it. It's hopeful, but we need to participate. We don't want to be left behind as spectators.
Those are projects for the future and may bear fruit down the line. But those who are making their living now in Bridgetown may also have to decide whether to ride it out and hope things improve or follow the trend and go where the traffic is. Akeel Lovell, Nation News.